Welcome, everyone. If you've been doing hip mobility drills every day, but your hips still feel tight, this might explain why. I used to think I just needed more stretching and mobility work, but I was missing something much more fundamental. It wasn't just about moving my hips, it was about learning to control my pelvis. And not only control my pelvis, but control it independently from my torso. For the longest time, whenever I moved my pelvis, my rib cage came along with it. This ended up affecting my ability to engage in mobility and exercise with the necessary alignment and positioning needed. So whenever I would attempt a stretch or movement, instead of being able to control my pelvis independently, my whole torso shifted as well. I wasn't actually learning the correct movement pattern my body needed. I was just going through the motions, continuing to reinforce bad habits. Your pelvis should be able to move independently without affecting the positioning of your rib cage. Being able to disassociate and control them from one another is what allows you to maintain a stacked and aligned torso while keeping the pelvis free to tilt back and forth depending on the movement. A prime example of this would be during a kneeling hip flexor stretch where I used to always flare my ribs and lean forward every single time I attempted the stretch. Keeping my ribs stacked while moving only my pelvis completely changed the stretch into how it was intended to work. Continuing to engage in movement without taking these small details into account will further reinforce bad alignment and movement mechanics. One drill that helped me disassociate my pelvis from my rib cage and build control is a modified version of the cat cow. Stack and organize a few yoga blocks until they are right under your upper rib cage. This is to help keep your spine neutral and to prevent your ribs from collapsing or flaring. Tilt your pelvis from an anterior to a posterior position while keeping your rib cage quiet and still. Then tilt your pelvis in the opposite direction, anterior pelvic tilt, without moving the torso or flaring the ribs. This is where you learn to keep your upper body solid while only moving the pelvis. However, it is okay if there's minor lower back movement. If you feel your chest press against the yoga block as you anteriorly tilt your pelvis forward, then you know you are flaring your ribs when you tilt your pelvis forward, which we want to avoid by keeping the ribs tucked, aligned, and solid. Use your breathing to control the movement as you tilt your pelvis back and forth and avoid holding in your breath. As you inhale, tilt your pelvis forward, anterior pelvic tilt. And as you exhale, tilt the pelvis back, posterior pelvic tilt. This isn't me saying hip mobility drills don't work. It is a reminder that there are other often overlooked factors that play a major role in your hip mobility you may not even be aware of. Hip mobility drills and exercises become much more effective when you can move your pelvis without compensating anywhere else. That is when you can actually get the most out of them. Before you add in any more mobility work, take a closer look at your rib cage next time you do a stretch or exercise. Do you find yourself always flaring out or shifting forward to help compensate? Is it hard for you to move your pelvis without moving your torso at all? Simple observations such as these changed how I approached hip mobility, and it might change yours too. If this has helped you figure something out, make sure to let me know by leaving a comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for your time.